This meeting of the Alcohol and Gambling Licensing Committee on the 25th of January 2022. I'll begin by reading the evacuation procedure.
It's too cold to evacuate.
There is a location plan of the exits and the assembly point situated on the doors of this room. Please familiarise yourself with it. When discovering a fire, please carry out the following: sound the alarm, attack the fire if possible, and safe to do so using the appliance provided. On hearing the evacuation signal, please carry out the following: exit the building by your nearest safest exit. All visitors report to assembly point G. All staff report to their designated assembly point on Woolpathway car park. Do not leave the assembly point for any reason until told to do so by the incident control or fire brigade officer. Agenda item 2, apologies for absence, members away on official council business. So I believe we have several apologies, don't we, Clive? Have you got the names?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Hancock's, Councillor Lees, Councillor McDonald, Councillor Park, Councillor Andrew Wright, and Councillor Farrell.
Okay. We don't take any substitutes on the Alcohol and Gambling Licence Committee at the moment. Agenda item 3, disclosure of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Does anyone have any to declare? No? See none? Agenda item 4 is public participation, but I don't think we have any. So we move to agenda item 5, minutes of the Licensing Committee held on the 26th of January 2021. Not somewhere.
Those were the ones that were actually signed off in July.
Okay, yes.
I apologise for that. It was an error because of the change to the committee format. We took those minutes to the July meeting, and basically, in simplest terms, we forgot. I didn't spot it. So you have actually signed those in July.
I'd forgotten I'd signed them as well. So minutes of the Alcohol and Gambling Licence Committee held on the 22nd of July. Does anyone have a copy of those? I'll go through page by page. If you've got any items which are just let me know. Page 6/1, 6/2, 6/3, and 6/4. I just have a show of hands to see if we that's moved, seconded, and show of hands. Thank you. I'll sign it off. Agenda item is Gambling Act 2005 review of the gambling licence and statement of principles. Do you have a copy of that in front of you? Who's taking us through this? We've got an officer who wants to.
Chair, Councillor Joanne Phillips is here remotely, so she's able to present that.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't looking in the right direction. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello there. Sorry, I'm not able to be there this evening. The gambling policy statement of principles has come up for renew. That is for every 3 years. So this is for 2022 to 2025. There's no significant changes to the policy that was already had already been approved, apart from a couple of points in the legislation that that have been changed. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as it was. So that being said, I don't really see why there's any sort of decision other than to say yes, really, because it's just the same as it was before. Obviously, we have to review it every 3 years, as it says in the Act, but it's pretty much as it stands.
Thank you. And as Jo said, there's very, very little in the way of changes, but does anyone have any questions or comments they wish to raise? I don't see any. In that case, we'll move to a vote on it. I'm looking for someone to propose that we, Simon?
Second.
I've got Simon and Marion. Show of hands, all in favour? It's carried unanimously. Just so I've brought the wrong glasses tonight, so I apologise if I put them on and off. Took them out of my coat and over the wrong ones. Agenda item 8, General Fund fees and charges for 2022-2023. We have a report of the Chief Executive. That's you, Sue.
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's really just noting that these charges are statutory, so it's really just for members' information.
If everyone's had a chance to look through the report, do we have any comments, questions on that? Councillor Cleary.
Just the one for Joe. So these charges are like for the 2 betting shops that we've got in town. Is that right?
Sorry, Denise, can you say that again? I didn't hear what you said.
I said the charges, are these charges for the 2 betting shops we've got in town, but their licences?
We just have to license the premises. The Gambling Commission do the other 2 parts of the licence. So I'm not exactly sure what you're on about. I think I've missed something there.
It says these fees and charges in the appendix to the report, they cover the broad range of licensing. So for alcohol premises,
Pubs and the like.
Pubs, public entertainment and gambling. As Joe says, we only do the premises part of that, but they are in here. And as Sulana said, unfortunately, we're told what to charge.
Yeah. Thank you, Clive. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else? Michael.
No, just to say that we go to the vote. I agree with what she said, that the charges seem statutory. That should be fine.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, I'll move these from the chair. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. All in favour? That's unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 9, General Fund revenue estimates for 2022-23. Stu?
Thank you, Chair. I would say the normal budget, but only half of the normal budget. See the other half in the next meeting. We haven't got massive changes on the licensing budgets being revised or next year. And certainly in this particular version, then you'll see that there's not a great deal of change in 21-22. There is a change when we go to 22-23, but some of this relates to the fact that some of our licences are annual licences. They may come up every 3 years or in some cases 5 years. So that is reflected then in the income we can get in. We do have a number of fluctuations in it.
Thank you, Sue. Open it up to questions or comments. Mark?
Just one clarification. Nice easy one. It's page 43, 2.4. Under the expenditure, the gross expenditure, supplies and services. What are these supplies and services? Because I noticed the approved budget, the revised budget has dropped dramatically from the approved budget, which is good. But I'd just like to know what's the reason for that and what are the items involved?
It tends to be that we pay certain professional fees in some cases, or we might purchase books and so forth. Jo and her team need to keep up to date with all the latest legislation. So sometimes the expenditure can vary depending on what activity we're undertaking or if there are any changes to the regulations that we need the staff to read up on.
Okay, then. It's just a dramatic change, like I say, from the from the approved budget, 1380 down to 910 was a big jump down.
Chair, if I may, I can't remember if it's the actual one, but some of our professional books can cost a good few £100. So
Right. No, it was a good jump in the right direction.
Yes.
I was just wondering
absolutely.
why that jump was in that direction.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Marion?
Just because it's, I just need some clarification really. Probably when you say it, I say, oh yeah, it looks exactly right. Where it's got employee costs, departmental support and central support, can you just tell me what each one of those are so as I know in my head, please?
Yes, certainly. So we tend to split our support costs, if you like. So, for example, Jo and her team, the time they charge would, because they're dealing directly with licensing, are classed as departmental support. Whereas when myself and my team would produce the accounts for licensing, we would class ourselves as essential support because we support services right across the council. But Jo and her team are specific to environmental health, to licensing, and so we class those differently. If we put all of us down as central support, in the past it got a little bit confusing for people because they thought all of the support costs then were very much finance, legal and so forth, without realising that it was actually the department involved. So that's why we split it.
So it's the central is essential. That's what I'm asking. It's the central support, the essential support.
Well, Chair, if I may,
Please.
from my point of view, central support is absolutely essential because otherwise you wouldn't employ me.
It's all right. It's just,
Job creation.
Yeah.
okay. I'm just going to put Sue.
You can put outline as well.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. I just like
Anyone else?
tick boxes next to things.
No one else? In that case, we'll move to the vote. Again, I'll move in the chair. Can I have a second? Thank you. And a sign. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. That brings us to the end of the alcohol and gambling licensing committee agenda, so I'll close that meeting. We'll need a few minutes before we move to the